We are counting down 25 insane reasons the Philippines feels like another planet. From a volcano inside a lake to a trench so deep it could bury Everest. And you will not believe number 1. Today we pulled the 10 wildest highlights, and we are going full send from jaw-dropping geology to life at ocean epic levels. Kicking off our countdown with fact number 10. The triple-layer volcano at Taal. Picture a volcano living inside a lake, which sits inside the collapsed crater of an older supervolcano. That is Taal on Luzon, a real-life geologic nesting doll. Volcano Island rose inside Lake Taal, and on that island there was a smaller crater lake with a tiny islet that became a world-famous curiosity. In January 2020, Taal went from serene to savage. Phreatomagmatic blasts turned water to steam, lightning crackled through the ash plume, and fine ash dusted cars and rooftops all the way to Metro Manila. Fish pens boiled, new vents opened along the island's flanks, and parts of the lake shore heaved and cracked as the ground flexed. Why it matters. Taal is small but explosive, dangerously close to millions of people, and it proves the ground here can redraw itself overnight. Moving on to fact number 9. Giant waves that roll underwater. In the Luzon Strait, some of the tallest waves on Earth are completely invisible at the surface. Internal waves form between layers of different density water, and as tides slam against underwater ridges between Taiwan and the Philippines, they rear up hundreds of meters high and race west like submerged tsunamis. You can see their fingerprints from space, long rippling bands captured on satellite images at sunrise, and feel their pull in the channels around Batanes where boat captains time their crossings. These slow giants drag cold, nutrient-rich water upward, spark plankton blooms, and make the South China Sea's surface waters pulse like a beating heart. Why it matters. They mix the ocean, move heat and nutrients, and help drive global circulation. The Philippines literally stirs the seas. And now for fact number 8, a major fault under Metro Manila. The West Valley Fault threads along the eastern edge of the capital from Bulacan to Laguna, slicing under neighborhoods in Quezon City, Marikina, Pasig, Taguig, and Muntinlupa. On the ground, hazard maps show red lines cutting through subdivisions, schools, and parks. Quiet reminders of a fracture that last broke centuries ago. Seismologists warn it's capable of a magnitude 7+ event. Studies model ruptures that could snap bridges, ignite fires from broken gas lines, and liquefy soft river sediments. Metro-wide earthquake drills, go bags by the front door, and retrofitted hospitals are not paranoia here. They're policy. Why it matters. Preparedness and strict building rules are life or death, because the next big rupture could shake the megacity hard. Getting closer with fact number 7. A perfect cone with a temper. Mayon volcano in Albay looks too perfect to be real. A smooth, symmetrical stratovolcano, sculpted by centuries of eruptions. Locals call it the perfect cone, and legends say it's the resting place of a beautiful maiden, Daragang Magayon. But that beauty hides a hot temper. More than 50 recorded eruptions have sent ash columns skyward and incandescent lava rivers down its flanks, with deadly pyroclastic surges outrunning anything on foot. The Cagsawa Church bell tower, half buried since the 1814 eruption, stands as a stone warning. In recent years, tens of thousands have evacuated at a moment's notice as grey, boiling clouds curled off the summit. Why it matters. In the Philippines, even the postcard view can be an active hazard that demands respect. Next up is fact number 6. 7,641 islands, and most are empty. The Philippines is an ocean world of big islands, tiny specks of coral and rock, and sandbars that wink into existence at low tide. Only a fraction of those islands are permanently inhabited, and between them run sea roads plied by bangkas and roll-on/roll-off ferries. Each cluster speaks in its own tongue, cooks its own dishes, and guards its own coves. Home to tarsiers in Bohol, mouse deer in Palawan, and birds that exist nowhere else. That scatter of land is dreamy for castaway beaches and secret lagoons, but it also stretches supply lines, disaster response, schools, and clinics across a maritime maze. Why it matters. Endless hidden shores come with a high-level challenge. Moving people, protecting nature, and keeping far-flung communities connected. Halfway there with fact number 5. Life on the Typhoon Highway. Around 20 tropical cyclones enter Philippine waters every year, powered by some of the warmest ocean water on the planet. Names change as they cross into the country's warning zone, and entire towns watch the sky as spiral bands march in, roaring winds, swollen rivers, and storm surges that can rearrange coastlines overnight. Super Typhoon Yolanda, Haiyan taught the world what a wall of sea can do. In other years, back-to-back systems have tested levees, power grids, and patience. Yet when the rains ease, reservoirs refill, rice fields drink deep, and forests perk up. Why it matters. Storms here are both destroyers and lifelines, refilling water and ecosystems, while testing infrastructure and resilience season after season. Coming in at fact number 4. A mountain range that blunts superstorms. The Sierra Madre runs along eastern Luzon like a ragged green wall. When Pacific typhoons slam into it, the range forces air upward, wringing out torrents of rain on the seaward slopes and disrupting the cyclone's core. By the time a storm stumbles into central Luzon's plains, wind speeds often fall and the worst gusts have blown themselves out. Those same ridges cradle cloud forests, feed rivers that supply millions, and shelter wildlife like the Philippine eagle and hornbills. But the wall cuts both ways. Where it blocks wind, it can also focus rainfall into floods and landslides if forests are stripped. Why it matters. Nature provides a shield that saves lives and waters farms, but only if the shield stays intact. And now for fact number 3. A trench that swallows mountains. East of Mindanao, the Philippine Trench plunges more than 10 kilometers deep down into a world of eternal night and crushing pressure. Drop Everest in and the summit would still be underwater. Along its rim, one tectonic plate dives beneath another like a conveyor belt, dragging water into the mantle and feeding magma that rises to build volcanic arcs from Bicol to Mindanao. Subduction here is not just a line on a map, it's a machine that powers earthquakes, raises islands, and when it lurches suddenly, can send tsunamis racing. Recent expeditions have peered into its deepest pocket, the Emden Deep, charting a place where light never reaches and life makes do on chemical trickles. Why it matters. The trench is not just a hole, it is the engine of the Ring of Fire here. Moving to fact number 2, the eruption that cooled the planet. In 1991, Mount Pinatubo woke up after centuries of sleep and blew with one of the century's biggest blasts. Weeks of rumbling and dome building culminated in a cataclysm that punched ash and sulfur high into the stratosphere as a typhoon passed overhead, turning ash to cement on rooftops. Entire towns were buried by pyroclastic flows and later by lahars, cement-like floods that roared down valleys for years. Globally, the haze of tiny sulfur droplets bounced sunlight back to space and dimmed the planet by about half a degree for nearly 2 years. Sunsets turned electric red worldwide. Why it matters. One eruption from the Philippines can reshape landscapes and nudge global climate. That is power. The strangest fact is still coming. And finally, fact number 1. The global epicenter of marine life. The Philippines sits in the heart of the Coral Triangle, the most biodiverse marine region on Earth. Here, currents meet and mix in places like the Verde Island Passage, where a single patch of reef can host a breathtaking parade of fish, corals, and invertebrates. Tubataha's atolls rise like cathedrals from deep water. Apo Reef stretches in luminous blues, and whale sharks ghost along coastal feeding grounds, while manta rays fly over cleaning stations. It's not just reefs. Mangroves and seagrass meadows cradle nurseries for fish and store vast amounts of carbon in their soils. Local Bantay Dagat sea wardens patrol these waters because bleaching, overfishing, and storms never rest. Why it matters. This is the Amazon of the oceans. It feeds millions, shields coasts from storms, stores carbon, and preserves life most of us will never see. Protect it and you protect the planet. Protect it and you protect the planet. From a volcano inside a lake to an ocean trench that fuels fire, from invisible waves that steer the seas to reefs that power life, the Philippines proves Earth writes its wildest stories here. If you want more mind-bending geography and nature that hits hard, you know what to do. Let's keep exploring.